Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Unnati Kshetriya. I'm from Food Technology Department as host for today's event. A warm welcome to all the valuable members of this club and our guest speaker for today's event, Mr. Pankaj Chaudhary, Director of Hisar, Director of Times Hisar, Mr. Pratap Singh Malik, Director of Training and Placement Cell. It's an exclusive program for the club members regarding sharpening their communication skills, which helps them to stand out in competitive professional environment. Now, I want to call Pratap sir for the welcome speech. Sir, please.
Thanks a lot, Unnati. So, first of all, I would like to express thanks to Pankaj Chaudhary ji for accepting the invitation uh, to come in this very first event of newly constituted club, which we have named as Speakathon Club. So, Pankaj ji is our routine motivator of our students. So that's why we have taken this decision that we should call him for this opening event. So he will be talking with you, talking with the club members regarding how we can make our communication skills better. Because all the core members of this Speakathon club, they are those students which have basically won in various weekly virtual speakathons or fortnightly virtual speakathons. So they are already standing at a good platform uh, as well as communication skills or soft skills are concerned. So we want to take all such members on upper ladder, upper step of the ladder. So this is the main purpose of this Speakathon Club, and in today's interaction, Pankaj ji will be interacting with all the core members in this regard. So, dear students, when any club or society or any committee is created or constituted in a university like ours, it has some specific purpose. So today we should also understand that what is the role of all the club members of the Speakathon Club. The main objective of this Speakathon Club is to basically create a good environment in our university uh, due to which anyone can decide to improve his or her communication skills so that that environment may be provided to the students. This is the main purpose of this basically this Speakathon Club. And you people know that in all top institutions like IIT, IIM, there are so many student clubs. There are coding clubs, there are debate clubs, there are literature club. So many clubs are there, and students get groomed due to working in all such clubs. So we also want that our Speakathon club should run in this manner. So one very important responsibility on the shoulders of all the core members of this Speakathon club is that we we have to take one pledge, we have to take one decision that each one of us will groom at least 5 students which are not the core members of this club. You have heard this slogan that each one teach one. Each one teach one means
Disconnected. So by the time he joined again, you please continue.
hello. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I was talking about the slogan, very famous slogan, each one teach one, which means that each literate person or each educated person should teach at least one person. So in this Speakathon Club, we will be moving with the slogan, each one groom 5. Each core member of this club has to groom at least 5 those students which are not the member of this club. So this can be done in two manners. One way maybe that you yourself can pick any 5 students. Those students may be your classmates, those may be your friends. Any 5 students you can pick, and what you have to do, you have to conduct one group discussion, one GD, and we can conduct this GD in a virtual manner also till this corona situation is improved. So we have to basically, each member of this club has to organize one group discussion of those five members, those five students basically, and this activity has to be done on weekly basis by each and every member of this club. So this is very important and big responsibility of the members of this club. But see what impact it will create. Suppose we are 30 members of this club, and each one of us will work on five such students. So it will be a big charity also, it will be a big grooming also, and you know that teaching is the best way of learning. If you sorry, learning is the best. If you want to learn good, so you should teach. So in that way, teaching is best way of learning. So if you want to groom your own communication skills, and you start mentoring some students, in that case your communication skills will be. Prashant, please mute yourself. And Unnati, you can also take care of this thing. So my request to all the club members is that we have to start this activity. So I told that this may be one method, that you yourself pick any five students, and one second method may be also adopted, and that way is that we core like coordinators and co-coordinators of this club uh, will ask for such students who are basically requiring some mentor. So those students can contact our coordinators, and those students can be given. Those those five students can be given by our coordinators to the core members. This may be second method. I'm hoping that these both of these things are clear to all the core members of this club. One way is that you yourself pick any five students, and those may be your friends. And second way is that like Apurva, Unnati, and Alok, these are the coordinators of this club. They can give you the students, and how they will get the names of the students. We can get the students registered for this very thing, this particular thing. So students can register themselves, that okay, we need some mentor, we need some student mentor, peer mentor. So in that way they can register, and those students can be assigned to the core members. So this activity we are dreaming, we are planning that if all the core members of our Speakathon club take this activity in serious manner, so a big change can be done in our university, as well as soft skills of our students or communication skills of our students are concerned. So this is the vision of this Speakathon club. I am hopeful that all of you are with me regarding this vision of our Speakathon club. So, and we also will be doing one program, like earlier we used to do weekly virtual speakathon, and then we did fortnightly virtual speakathon, and now onwards we will be doing monthly virtual speakathon, MVS. So this MVS program will be done once in a month, and you people have to motivate your those five students to participate in such a type of speakathon competitions also. So in that way, our participation of various competitions will also increase. And basic thing is that you will also feel very good if five students ultimately say that okay, earlier we were not able to interact in English, we were not able to do the group discussion, but after mentoring of XYZ core member of this club, now I can debate, I can interact in English. So this will be a very nice, you can say, contentment, so, which you people can feel. So today my objective was to apprise all of you, make you aware about the vision, and how we are basically planning to take this Speakathon club in forward. So this I have tried to interact with you. So I am hopeful that you people will be working on it. So with these words, again, I express my thanks to Pankaj ji for sparing his time to interact with you. And thanks. Over to Nati. Yes, Unnati. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your lovely words. Success doesn't just come and find you. You have to go out and get it. Now I request Pankaj sir to enlighten us. Th- Sir, sir, you are not audible. Please turn on your mic.
Yeah, unmute, ma'am. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Good. Very good afternoon to all of you. So I I will be having a polished crowd, if I may say, because you guys are a notch above than your peers already, because you are the chosen one in terms of winning some sort of competition to be here, right? You all guys have won some competition probably in GD or debate, and that is why you are these founding members of Speakathon. Okay. So am audible, right, to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we normally also have a program called train the trainers, right? There's a very popular concept of training the trainers, right? Now, so my job is now really changed from direct trainer to training the trainers, because I would want you and expect you to train the people whom you are taking under your wings, those 5 kids who will be who will be associated with you. You have to mentor them, you have to train them, and you have to make sure that they reach to their fullest potential. Now that should be an objective. Now, when you do something like this, right, when you try to push somebody to change the orbital in which they are currently operating, what I'm saying is, everybody operates in a current circumstances. When they're pushed beyond their current capabilities, they develop, right? So now you probably are a notch higher when compared to your friends whom we are talking about. So when you're going to push them, right, you yourself will improve substantially. So the benefits that you derive in training somebody are immense. Not only you become better in terms of your technical aspects, as in aspects on which you are training somebody else, but you also improve in your aspects softer aspects, as in your patience develops. You have a lot of patience to listen to the people when you're training somebody. Not only that, you devise different methods for explaining a particular idea to different people, so that helps you to think in a broader fashion. A single idea, if you're having an idea, you want to express this idea to somebody, not everybody will understand your idea in a particular communication methodology. So you need to develop more strategies, more methods, more ways of explaining the same thing, not only building your communication, but also in the process helping you to think 360 degrees. Now that is what you call as intuitive development. That is what you guys call as creative thinking. So that is how you develop. It is not something that can be really studied in a textbook. There are n number of books which are available today on of Speakathon. So that means the focus idea is to develop your verbal communication. Now that is the aspect that we are going to discuss uh, in this particular presentation. And also my endeavor would be to answer any questions in terms of tackling difficult situations that you will that will arise when you are training your people. It's not going to be easy, please understand. They are probably your friends, they probably would be your batchmates or a junior at best, and therefore your ability to command them, your ability to have a leadership over these people is going to be difficult, right? So you need certain tools and tips to handle these tough situations, and this will help you to really develop. I mean, that is the key takeaway for you guys, apart from of course speaking and all those things. But that this is very very important in any corporates, no matter where you work, right? Your ability to handle your peers is very very important, because you can't change your seniors may behave in a particular fashion, but you don't have to interact with them on day to day basis. Similarly, you can change the behavior of your subordinates because you are having a referent power, because you are sitting in a position of power. So whatever you say, juniors may like or may not like, but they have to follow. But the problem really is the peers. That is a trickier part, because they are at same level and still you are a part of team and you're expected to push your idea. So that's really really a tricky thing, and that is where you are venturing. And every for every project to be successful, for any event to be successful, there is always something known as a trailblazer. So what is a trailblazer? It's somebody who has really who is leading the way, who is the pathfinder. When there are explorations done on the moon or in the universe, there's always a pathfinder which first goes and tries to figure out different things. So then when the main spacecraft goes there, it does not have any trouble because they have already found out basic information. So even in this project, of course, you know Malik sir has really trailblazed it for you guys. So he's created a kind of path for you guys. Now important thing is to maintain that path and walk that path, right? So of course, starting something new takes a challenge, no doubt about it. It's a tough call. It takes a lot of effort in terms of organizing things, but still more difficult is to really sustain that. And that is where uh, today for this session, you need to, Unnati, allow me to share my screen. Uh, Pratap sir, you need to give me
Ah,
permission to
Pankaj,
share my screen.
Pankaj, you can because you are co-host.
I am co-host. Okay, so great. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so of course, first slide is obviously welcome you, welcoming you guys, because you are the founder members of this club. So at least this one medal you can keep always with you, that you are the founder members of a particular club. So long after you are gone from this university, you will always be remembered for the work that you have done for bringing this idea to a live activity. So you'll be cherished for that. At least you must be happy and clap for yourself that you are a part of this founding team. And it will go a long way, because the university is here from last 25 years. It is going to be for another 50 100 years, long before we are all dead. But the name will always continue, and so your name also continues with this particular club. Now why I'm saying this will continue, because this is about communication. And please understand, when we're talking of communication, here we are more specifically talking about English communication, because that is the business language of the world as of now, and it continues to be probably for the next many years. Till the time English is a business language, we will have to really focus on this particular language in terms of our ability to express our ideas to others, right? And therefore, everybody, I mean, if you pick up anybody in the university and ask them, him or her, that would you like to improve your communication, there's a 99.9% chance that the answer is yes, they would like to improve. Because no matter how good they are, there is always a scope of improvement. And this skill is something that will be with you lifelong. It is going to pay you dividends in every sphere of life, be it your education, be it your higher studies, be it your marriage prospects, be it your starting a company organization, be it moving abroad, in corporates. No matter where you go, this is something that is really going to pay you, and pay you in multiples. There are multi-baggers in the stock market. So that is, you invest something and you get multiple returns. So investing time, energy, and effort in improving your communication is something which is going to pay you immensely subsequently throughout your life. And therefore everybody is really interested in learning this skill. So where are the problems and how do we overcome? We will just subsequently go through these slides. Now, why this is important, we have already seen. We find ourselves in the sea of people competing for resources in almost every arena of professional and personal life. So why this becomes important? Because the resources are scarce. They're very scarce. As in, if you have immense amount of money, immense amount of wealth, probably this session can be skipped. Probably you will not need good communication skills. Even a mediocre student will do well. But we all need to excel in some field or the other. You could excel in the field of your choice in terms of the education that you are taking, or you may also change. Subsequently people move into different fields. But one thing is clear: we are all struggling for resources. There are limited resources that are available. Now this resources could be to any extent. You have limited resources in terms of your pocket money. You have limited resources in terms of your the amount of money which your parents can spend for you, your grooming, your study, your education. There's a limited resources as a state of Haryana. We have a as a state country, we have a limited resources. As a world, we are having only one earth to dig the resources from that, right? So there's only limited amount of oil which is present. There's only limited amount of precious metal that is available in the earth, and we are digging earth and you are consuming those resources, and so they are depleting very fast. And therefore we have to be very economical and efficient with the resources that we have. I mean, we are all studying, we are all part of Guru Jambheshwar University. I hope you understand the background of it. you know so it is all about maintaining efficiency in terms of environment, in terms of resources that we have. And therefore there always exists a competition, because we really want slightly more resources for ourselves, for our better being, for well-being, and therefore this competition exists. And this is one tool, whatever you may want to call it a sword, call it a dagger, call it a brahmastra, call it a missile, whatever you want. But a great verbal communication can beat probably most of the other tools which are available for self development and growth, for professionally and personally both. Except for what I personally believe, except for your knowledge, technical knowledge of a domain. If you are an expert of a particular domain, expert as in truly expert, that can certainly beat communication, a verbal communication. Other than that, I don't think really anything else beats your verbal communication. Large number of people depend on it. Large number, entire marketing field depends on it, entire sales system depends on it. And on these two aspects, entire marketing depends on it, entire job. If you list, you figure out what is most important in terms of skills that a HR manager expects from any candidate. The first is, yes, verbal communication skills. Even if you are a domain expertise, no, he would expect certain communication skills, because if you are unable to transmit and translate your expertise to your team members, probably it is not of not much use, unless you are an Einstein, where you are try to discovering or inventing something which is very new, which nobody knows, and communication is not required. But even he was a good communicator, because all these people write books. So understand the significance and importance. Now I'm sure you understand the significance, that is why you are a part of this club. But why I'm drilling down this idea to you, because you will need to drill down the same idea to the people whom you are taking under your wings. That is what is important. So if unless you are convinced of the importance of what we are doing, it becomes very difficult for us to really transmit that commitment and transmit that zeal and passion to the people whom we are trying to reach. If I were to not believe on this what I'm saying, and just saying because I need to say, because Pratap sir has invited, probably I'll not be able to touch your hearts in terms of convincing you that it is truly the core skill that is required. Apart from whatever you develop, this is truly important. And I cannot emphasize less, saying that communication, especially the verbal communication. See, communication itself is a very large subject. There's a master's degree available in communication, there's a PhD in communication. Entire media houses do some research and development on communication. Entire political parties and spectrum have a lot of inputs on communication. But we are only talking of very narrow aspect in terms of verbal communication, our ability to speak. That is what we are focusing our entire idea to. But then we must also know other aspects. So I'll touch upon other aspects of communication, because these things don't work in isolation. They have some interconnected relationships among them. But of course, the weightages may vary. So I believe that verbal communication is an highest value in terms of impressing others, or in terms of getting job done. Apart from that, there are other aspects of communication. We'll go through that. But you see, we really need to create a differentiator. And this skill that we are talking about, of communication. And we are not just talking about developing this communication skill, we are talking about developing a skill of mentoring others, and mentoring your peers, mentoring people who are of your age group, mentoring people who are probably your immediate junior, or they could be your classmates, or they could also be seniors. So that is another life skill that we are developing. So that itself shows that the being a part of this club itself shows that you're trying to create a differentiator, you're trying to develop a life skills. So that's the one, the component that you see in purple color, that you're developing a life skill. So that's how you create differentiator. And you got to create an edge for yourself. So these differentiators create an edge. Edge means slight advantage vis-a-vis competitors. So this edge could be your knowledge, your technical skills, it could be your connections, it could be your links, it could be your ability to convince others, it could be lead. So this is what you call as creating an edge. So having a good verbal communication definitely creates an edge. And of course, to do all these things, what do you need? You need a lot of energy. See, ultimately, we know this fact that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. I'm sure I'm talking to engineers and management graduates, so they would understand that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. That means when I'm asking you to develop certain skills, it is going to consume. And it is going to consume what? It is going to consume your effort. What is an effort? It's an energy that you're going to commit. So it's not just energy in terms of battery cells, but it is energy in terms of what you do, because whatever you do requires energy. So more energetic person you are, right? So there's a huge likelihood of your success, irrespective of your your skills that you have. I'm connected, right? So this thing. Okay. Um, so
Yes.
whatever you do really will consume a lot of energy. So make sure when you are taking some sort of venture, some sort of project, you will be requiring a lot of energy. So I mean, being healthy, eating healthy, and always being happy helps you to maintain that energy level, because you're going to train 5 people, please understand, and that's not going to be easy. So you not only need energy for them, you'll also need energy for yourself. So having a lot of energy will really help you to achieve whatever we are intending to do. And of course, the earlier we start, the better it is. So if you're in first year, great, you have 4 years to do. If you're in final year, still great, now that this needs to be done. Otherwise, you would be forced to do this activity when you are into some corporate sector or in private job. So still you have times. Lucky enough, because we have started when we are still in the university, when we are still in a phase where people are interested in our development. The moment you step out of this university, if you're a postgraduate student, please understand nobody is interested in your well-being. If you're a girl, your parents are interested in getting you married off. If you're a boy, your parents want you to get a job to make sure that you provide some stable income to the family. And these are the two expectations that you have, right? And this is area where uh, they are giving you, they are providing you with resources. But the moment you go out, they will expect you to gather resources from outside and bring it to the family. So that is the true expectation. See, you may be coming from a very big business house. For example, your dad may be having a factory running of 100 crores. He's giving you everything. You are driving in a car to the university, you are using iPhone 12 and the latest whatnot. But the moment you finish your management program or engineering program, क्या बोलेंगे पापा? आजा बेटा कल से factory. What do you mean by aja beta kal se factory? Do you think he's going to spend on you something in the factory? No. You are there going for a job, you're going there to work, you're going there to learn. He wants to train you, he wants to make sure that you spend your time productively so that you make money. That means the moment you start out of this university, everybody is expecting you to bring in something. Nobody is really caring about what you develop, what you are interested in, what you want to do in life. Nobody is bothered. Your parents may be bothered, but till only masters or PhD. Beyond that, you're on your own. So this is the best time in terms of developing yourself and helping others to do that. Right. Now there is a question, sir, why do we, need to help others? Because they will only create competition for us. And, why not just develop ourselves and learn and go out and succeed? You see, first, there is a practical requirement why you need to teach and train. And then there is an ulterior understanding why you must train. So first, because you have not reached the pinnacle of learning, please understand that first. So when you train others, you are selfish in the sense that you will be learning more than what you are teaching. Therefore, you will always maintain the superiority, or you will always maintain the edge over the person whom you are training. At the same time, you are improving yourself to compete with the people in the world. You are able to compete people studying in IITs and IIMs, because you are developing and improving along with your person whom you're training. So you don't have to worry about losing your advantage by training somebody else. That is one. Second, the more you give, the more you learn, the more you earn also, especially with knowledge. Because when you try to teach something to others, sometimes we are also wrong, because we believe something that this is correct, but the information may be incorrect, and the person in front of you points that out. And that means you are basically refining whatever you are having. Your knowledge always gets refined when you teach. And therefore, if you are a teacher, be a lifelong teacher. It will always help you, no matter if you're, even if you're not teacher, be a trainer, be a mentor, because ultimately, eventually, that is what is going to happen in professional life also. If you join any organization as an engineer trainee, eventually you become a team leader and there are people below you. You now need to start mentoring them. But if you do not have any experience of getting mentored or mentoring others, then you are in trouble. So that learning will happen in this club itself. So that is why it's immensely important and helpful that we start early. So that was the idea I wanted to portray, in this particular slide. So we'll be talking of communication skills, because that's a passport to your success. And just quickly going through communication so that you have a fundamental idea and understanding of what you want to train others, and where are we heading. And then of course some practical aspects as to how you can mentor them. We'll all discuss all that. So communication essentially is a ways and means to express your idea. So whatever you have in your mind, if you're able to you know transfer or transmit that particular idea to the other person, whom we call a listener or a receiver in more technical terms, is what is communication all about. And therefore, let us say, some very senior politicians, if he speaks, everybody listens. But there are people who speak, nobody listens. Why? Because he is able to express the thoughts, his own thoughts, to others. So that is key. And a really good speaker and a motivator would be one if he's able to touch others' heart. Now it's easier said than done by saying touching others' heart. You physically, of course, cannot do so. You have to touch others' heart only by your words. So your words must have that kind of power. And how do you get that kind of power? That power comes from honesty, truthfulness, and the belief in which what you are saying. Only then you will have that kind of power to touch somebody's else's heart. So you need to have those ingredients in yourself, to be able to communicate your thoughts very effectively to others. So that's the first important understanding why we need this communication. And more ground reality, on more practical aspects, you need to sell your ideas. Let's say you want to start a company, you want to you want a bike from your dad. So will he give you? Simply, I mean, it's very difficult. If you have bike, probably you'll be asking car. If you're having car, you'll be asking a BMW. He will not give you easily. You have to sell him that idea, that this car is value for him. For him, whom? For your dad. For example, you want a BMW for yourself, but why it is important for you, because it will show a lot of prestige. But this is not what you can tell to your dad. You will have to sell this idea to your dad, that having a BMW, you having a BMW, is a prestige for him, for your dad. You understand? So that is what you're trying to sell. You want a car, but what you have to sell them is not that it's a beautiful car, it's a nice car. No, it's not that idea. You will never get that car. You will only get that car when you tell him, Papa, if I have that car, all your friends, all the people in your circle will say, "Wow, अग्रवाल साहब का बेटा देखो क्या है." So आपको इज्जत मिलेगी. So that is when I say, you got to sell your ideas. So if you don't develop this approach, it's really going to be difficult to get what you really want, right? You want a car, but you'll not get a car by asking. So that's what I'm saying. That's why communication gets important. The way you convince others, of course these are, same things put in different passion, but it's about convincing others. Ultimately, when we say that we have to earn something, right, when you want to do something, so the idea is to gather the resources from others for your own benefit. That's the point, bottom line. So basically, at every point of time there's a transaction happening in communication. So one of the transaction is to seek something from others. That is a favorable transaction. Every business deal, every communication is a transaction. So it could be a transaction of ideas, it could be a transaction of goods and services, it could be a commercial transaction, it could be a friendly transaction, it could be anything. It is a transaction. But to get something from others, you have to convince others that it is a good idea for you to share. It could be an idea, it could be money, it could be plan, it could be project, it could be anything. So you got to convince others. So that is where communications comes into play. And no matter what, you as a trainer will have to motivate the people whom you have chosen, or who are assigned to you guys. So unless you motivate, they will not be learning, right? No matter how good tools you give to them, unless there is a motivation, it could be external motivation, internal, no matter what, how you bifurcate, but fundamentally they must be interested. If they're not, you got to make sure that they're interested. That is the basic idea of motivation. So motivate, of course, this entire motivation itself is an entire topic of discussion for many hours, but here we are restricting our ideas that you are required to motivate them. And the most crucial thing, the way you listen. Communication is not just about babbling out, just about talking what you have. Communication is a two-way process where you are required to listen. Now, please understand, I am focusing on the word listening and not on the word hearing. Hearing का मतलब होता है कि somebody saying something, it's just going into your ears and you are just responding by saying yes, no, or something like this. Listening is a process where you understand what others are saying. So when you listen and when you hear, sometimes you only listen, you know it's between listening and hearing, to respond to what somebody is saying. Now that's not a good communication skill. Don't hear or listen to respond, hear or listen to understand. Now that's a fundamental difference that really exists between an average communicator and a good communicator. Now if you are listening to somebody saying something, you're listening, you are just listening to reply to what somebody is saying. This normally happens in an argument, in a discussion, in a debate. Please understand, when something like this happens, there's always a chance of conflict. And when this happens, the communication is really poor and bad. So the first and foremost criteria when you're listening to somebody, even let us say some students whom you're training are asking you something, don't immediately start thinking in your mind कि अच्छा इसने ये सवाल पूछा है तो मैं क्या जवाब दूंगा. ऐसा नहीं करना है, उसको समझना है. If you're able to understand what others are saying, you will truly be good communicator, you will truly be good trainer. That's how it is. And of course the way you talk, the entire basis of this communication is your how you talk. So to talk, you need to have vocabulary, you need to have basic grammar, you need to have practice language, and so on and so forth. But this is what is communication all about. So this is a fundamental ways in which we communicate with others. Of course, spoken word being the best, as I told you, it is the best way of communicating with others is verbal communication. Then we have visual communication, we have written communication, we have body language. So these are different communications. Here we are focusing on spoken words. Of course, visual communication happens like print media, for example, advertising and things like that, or doodling, or nowadays having a sketch. It is also said, picture is worth 1,000 words. So to that extent, it also emphasize the importance of visual communication. So visual communication is, of course, it's a supporting communication with spoken words. Written communication generally is a formal communication. It happens in entire organization, top bottom, laterally, bottom up, all kinds of communication in industry, in corporate sector, in government sector, at personal levels, or any formal thing will always happen in written communication. Now, written words are very, very important, especially in making a business decision, especially in contracts. Entire legal system, entire framework, entire judiciary is actually dependent on those written words. So if you see, there are, when there are laws are framed, or somebody is interpreting constitution, every word, in fact, a comma, a full stop, an exclamation, everything is, scrutinized to understand the correct meaning of what is being said. And therefore, you have to be very, very careful in terms of written words, especially in the era of digital world. If you type something and you post it on internet, chances are it is gone forever. पहले बोलते थे ना शब्द के लिए कि अगर तीर निकल गया कमान से तो आप वापस नहीं ला सकते, तो जबान से जब कोई बात निकल जाती है तो हम उसको वापस नहीं ले सकते. But if not many people have listened to it, it is all right. But if you have a wrong communication document which is floating across internet, then please understand you could be in trouble anytime. So documentation and keeping your paperwork, making sure what you write is very appropriate, is of utmost importance in communication. So please, whenever we are focusing on written communication, don't simply write and send blindly. Even if it is a mail, don't just, if it's a mail, you have written some mail, don't send it. If you have time, just keep it for 5-10 minutes, review it, and then send it. Chances are you will make 1 or 2 changes, couple of changes happen. Similarly, don't write anything when you're angry. I mean, write everything when you're angry because it helps you to control anger. That's a part of anger management. If I take some session, I'll tell you. But the point is, if you have to send a written communication to somebody else, you have to be more than doubly careful, because once it is gone, it becomes a documentary proof. And if it is something which is not correct legally or ethically, then you will have a lot of trouble in the organization. And therefore, this becomes very, very crucial, written communication. So it is an entire study in itself. And body language, yes, it's a finer aspects of communication, because it's not just the words that we are speaking becomes important. It is the tone in which we are speaking that becomes important. The way we are standing, the way we are posturing with respect to others, the way we are looking at others, the way we are dressing, everything plays an important role of communication, because there is something known as a non-verbal communication. That means we always emit certain signals. Sorry, we we always emit certain signals which are captured by other people, right? So even if you're not saying something to somebody, you are making a lot of statements by the way of your posturing, by way of your dressing, by way of your looking, by way of your watching. And therefore, this study in itself is very, very important. So when you are training these kids who will be associated with you, you should certainly start with your verbal communication, but eventually you will have to come down to these finer aspects as well, because nothing really exists in isolation, right? Everything will impact something or the other and also get influenced by something else. And therefore, when, let's say, your verbal communication is excellent but your body language is not supporting it, your visual communication is not supporting it, then it becomes a awkward situation. And therefore, a fine balance is always required. However, having said that, fine balance is always required, there is always different weightages which are assigned to a particular idea. So even in communication, for this particular club, the higher weightage should be given on the spoken word, the spoken communication. And eventually, once we achieve certain traction in that, we will move to other finer aspects of the communication, right? So see, you need to know all this to tell those people, right? See, you have to show and demonstrate your superior knowledge also, not to show off, but to earn the respect and acceptance of the people whom you're going to train. Please understand. See, they will not listen to you if you don't if they don't respect you. And why will they respect you? They will only respect you because you are superior to them in a particular domain area which you are trying to teach them. It could be communication, but knowledge is also something, which always helps to command respect. So if you're a knowledgeable person and you're an, other in other areas you're all right, chances are you will get decent amount of respect, and that is how you build your leadership. Okay, so this is what, these are the key areas of communicating. That's how we do. So we will be talking of uh, spoken communication. Of course, a quick, you have to express your thoughts immediately. If you're having good communication, you don't have to think, you don't have to make sentences in your mind. You are very prompt. You are able to immediately respond to somebody, right? And if you have a good communication, immediate response, you are always perceived to be an intelligent, relatively intelligent person when compared to others. So because these are games of perception. So you're also able to relate to other people easily. For example, if you there are two people, both are having good communication skills in a particular language, they will gel well with each other. If, for example, you're traveling to Europe, some European country, and you happen to find out some guy talking in Hindi, so you see there's an immediate bonding that happens. If you're traveling to a country like Japan or Germany, where people don't speak English, you find English speaking people, you'll be feeling very, very happy, and you'll be gelling with them very, very quickly. So the language, the communication helps a lot. So if, let's say, you are having somebody from Andhra Pradesh studying in the university, and you happen to know some amount of Telugu, and you talk to them in Telugu, you see the kind of bonding that happens, and therefore you understand the importance of spoken words in the language with other understand. Why do you think my speaking in Telugu language will have a better impact for some person Telugu speaking in the university? It is because in an environment where we are speaking different language, there's a concept of familiarity. And if both the people are good at communication, be it English or Hindi, there will be a sense of familiarity, and the bonding with that person becomes better and easy. So to that extent, it will help you build better relationships with others. Of course, it will help you to convince, understand others, because if you're not having good communication skill, the person may be speaking something and probably you missed out a lot of learnings from there. So that's key thing that we need to understand, that it helps to understand others. Of course, motivate, and of course to impress public. Now this is for our level, for more practical purposes, a lot of people would be interested in a good so-called fluent English, not because they want to do something great in life, because probably they are not aware as to what they want to do. But one thing is for sure, they know कि अच्छी अंग्रेजी होगी तो हम दूसरों को impress कर पाएंगे. So that's key idea, right? तो हम impress कर पाएंगे. तो at least this is one tool that you can use with your friends कि ठीक है, चलो कुछ कोई बात नहीं, तुम मत सुनो कि भाई अंग्रेजी काम में आएगी, या communication will help you professionally, personally, forget about it. At least one thing which is very, very apparent to everybody, that it will certainly impress public. So that's the most deepest feeling that ones have, that if I am able to do this, will I be able to impress the other person? If the answer is yes, they will be inclined to do that particular activity. And luckily for us, this Speakathon club, we are basically talking about improving communication skills, and this is something that is actually going to help them impress public. And that's one tool that you have to use, to draw more people to this club, to make sure that there's a realistic, we are able to bring some realistic change about this entire university campus. So that's the whole point. And of course, we need to really succeed, so that is going to help you. So you have to use this tool to impress public well, because this is something that will give you a lot of clientele base, because that's fundamental requirement for every human being. Deep down the heart, deep inside, we know that we want to impress others. It could be any way, it could be topper to impress others, or any reason. So language, English communication, Speakathon is something that will give them that opportunity to impress public, because they may not be able to achieve in this sort of span of time something which will help them to impress others, but certainly if they are good and fluent English, they will certainly be able to impress public. So that's one tool that you got to deploy and use very effectively to garner more and more enrollments as far as this club is concerned, because more people join, right? See, there's no the more people join, the more the spiral becomes bigger. When the spiral becomes bigger, it grows faster, and everybody improves, everybody develops. So when the economy grows, all companies do well. Similarly, if there is a kind of moment that is happening, if everybody is improving little, and the moment it adds up, and you without your realization, it becomes so big that it is a big bada boom. And on fun fine day, we realize, oh my God, everybody in the university, at least 60-70% are people speak English. So what happens is, when you build a kind of environment around you, right, the people who were skeptical initially would also fall into that. It's a kind of black hole, it has a strong magnetic power, even light cannot escape. So you kind of develop that kind of energy that everybody around it gyrates, and the more and more people join, the bigger it becomes. And even before we know it, it succeeds. At least that is the kind of passion, that is the kind of energy, at least we as a the founders of this Speakathon club must have. Only then it will move beyond this, right? If you don't show that kind of energy, then it will be only limited to you people or 5 people. So the idea is not just to train those 5 people. The idea is to make sure those 5 people are confident enough that they get hold of next 5 people and make sure that chain continues, right? Of course, I started an MLM company. I understand how it grows. Of course, I mean, I'm not suggesting that anybody does that work, but here I would certainly expect that everybody does those, networking. Each one teach 5, and it should not be limited to first chain, because you are the starter. So your 5 would be the first chain. The moment you are able to deploy this, 5 5 5, you see the multiplier effect. It becomes exponential. The calculations also can get haywire. Immediately you are able to capture the entire database in a very very fast manner, provided we set a timeline that, okay, this is the timeline in which I want to train my 5 people. And your success does not reflect on these 5 guys. Your success should be whether these 5 guys or girls, I mean, when I'm saying guys, I mean person, are able to train the next 5. That is where you leave this process. Before that, don't leave. Before that, you are not successful. You as a trainer should be able to train the people who can further train the people. That should be the motto, and that should be the vision. I mean, that is the vision you have to drive down to the people whom you will be training. The first line whom you will be choosing, your chosen one, should have all these ingredients which I'm trying to tell you, so that they may pass on this subsequently. So the idea is to first you imbibe that, make sure you are able to deliver this to your immediate trainees, and who then plant this idea immediately. Don't think once you train them, then you will tell them. Don't do that. Only on the day one, also tell them, okay, this is where I want to see you. So where do you want to see them? You want to see them to a position where they are having ability and the confidence to train next 5 people. The moment they know that this is where we want to go, you will see that they are going to put little more effort. If they're putting X effort in normal circumstances, if they know the path that they're going to take, if they know the target ki bhai yahan hame achieve karna hai, the effort is incremental, and that certainly is the difference between a success and failure. That incremental effort should be sufficient, that should be able to carry you through. And so that is what I mean to succeed. So this is success here would mean this for you guys, right? Okay. Okay, these are finer things. It's not always what you say. For the time being, to start with, we need to focus on what we are saying, right? Subsequent to this would come, you know, how we are saying it, how we are saying it. We will have a session on how we are saying it, but as a a trainer, you should also know this, that what you are saying is of course important, but how you are saying is also important. And the importance will depend on the circumstances. It's not that every time what you are saying is important, and sometimes how you're saying is important. It is having a weightage, certain weightage on how and what. It depends on the circumstances. Is it a formal setting, informal setting, and things like that. So these are finer aspects of it. But you must be aware that we are not only going to learn and teach them what they have to speak, how they have to speak. You see, when you're trying to bring about a change using communication, there are many aspects that we will take into consideration. How we speak will also be one of them, right? We'll come down to that eventually. Okay, now, so what are you going to tell them? How do we start? कि ठीक है, ये सब हम करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे? The first thing is, when you are talking to those 5 people, you will see that they're not listening to you because you're talking for the first time. वो आपस में बात कर रहे होंगे इधर उधर, के बोल रहे, हो सकता है, you may have some kind of people, because they want to improve, but attitude इतनी जल्दी तो नहीं आ जाएगा ना learning का. So it's going to take time. So the first thing that you need to drive down is them to listen carefully. First, to listen to you. If they don't listen to you, I mean, then they are not going to learn. So the first mantra of starting, developing communication skill is listening. So whenever you are giving them a talk, when you're training them, when you're talking to your five people, tell them that the first aspect is to listen carefully, and therefore they will listen. And if they listen, this is what they're going to teach subsequently to their people. So if everybody listens, you see, there will be less of anger in people, there will be more of harmony, there will be more of teamwork, there will be more of synergy. So that's the first thing. Train them how to listen. It will not only help them to develop a peace of mind, it will also help you to push across your point of view to them. Because if you're not listening, no matter how you are saying, what you are saying, it doesn't make any sense. So make sure that you drill down this point, that you have to listen carefully. And of course, you got to analyze what you see, hear, and speak. This will come subsequently. Rectify your mistakes and practice constantly. So I'm skipping these 2 points for the time being, because we have to take much more practical oriented approach. Practice is something. So ask them to listen. That's the first thing. Drill down this properly. And then we need to drill down the second point, that speaking only comes with practice. For example, I'll tell you, see, whenever we are speaking in Hindi, let's say we are talking some sentence, ki acha, Ram idhar aana, Shyam udhar jana. Do we ever think in terms of, grammar? कि पहले संज्ञा आएगा, क्रिया आएगा, सर्वनाम आएगा? We don't think like this, right? We simply make a sentence, and there's a high chance that the sentence is correct. If you are making any sentence in English, you don't think that, the first will use subject followed by predicate. अच्छा, verb तो रह ही गए यहाँ पे, इसमें तो gerund लगना चाहिए था. We really don't think, right? So once we are making a sentence, when you're talking any language, it is not that, a grammar will help or something like this. What is going to help you is the practice, the relevance, the context. So the more you read, the more you listen, the more you hear, the better your language becomes. Forget about this idea कि पहले हम word meaning सीखेंगे, फिर हम grammar सीखेंगे, फिर अंग्रेजी बोलेंगे. This is not going to happen. What is going to happen is, पहले हम बोलेंगे, तब हम ग्रामर और वोकैब सीखेंगे. पहले हम पढ़ेंगे, तब हम ग्रामर और वोकैब सीखेंगे. It's not the other way around. So that's what I believe is the fastest way of making sure that you improve and develop your communication skills. Of course, we are talking about English. We understand its significance, no big deal. It's a global language, it's medium for higher education. It also helps you to impress others, as we discussed earlier. It helps you to get social status, and of course, most importantly, the job prospects that we have. You see, all the major searches, major books that we are having primarily in English, and therefore we are talking about, improving our communication skills in English. See, once you improve your English, it does not mean that it's other languages are going to get weakened. You are going to become more sophisticated person. You are going to become more decent person, right? That will help you in all aspects, and that is why we need to have. So what is stopping you from really, going ahead with a good English? My understanding is, these are the things that you will come across when you talk to your people. What is preventing you from speaking good English? These are the ideas. You say, English का environment नहीं है, surroundings में सब हिंदी बोलते हैं. That's one thing. कि environment नहीं है. They may say, sir, हमने कोशिश करी थी, but everybody around speaks in other languages, and therefore we are unable to focus on this language. And then there is a fear and hesitation. What is fear? Fear of failure, fear of being mocked at, fear of, friends pulling your leg saying कि देखो वही गणा अंग्रेज आ गया अपना तो, kind of things. So that is kind of fear. That's the fear of failure, fear of being ridiculed. Now that's the big failure, and therefore this leads to hesitation. I mean, so hesitation is I think is a byproduct, or it's a result of your fear that you have. So that of course there are very few people who have problem in terms of speaking, which can be rectified. It's a medical condition, speech therapy is required, but for by and large the hesitation is because of fear, lack of practice, you know and of course not being exposed to that particular language. So there are many reasons for the fear, but the manifestation, the result, the outcome of the fear is that you hesitate. And this also leads to lack of confidence, and vice versa is also true. You're not having confidence and therefore you are afraid, but you're afraid therefore you're not having confidence. It's like, chicken and egg. But then they are all interdependent. So if you have confidence, you will not have fear. So if you don't fear, chances are you will gain confidence. Then you are also uncomfortable with vocabulary. Some of you may say कि सर वर्ड्स ही नहीं आते हैं हमें. Okay, obviously I understand वर्ड्स इसलिए नहीं आते हैं क्योंकि हमने उस लैंग्वेज में पढ़ा नहीं है, इसलिए वर्ड्स नहीं आते हैं. Unable to frame sentences, so construction is a problem. So even if you're good at vocabulary, you are unable to frame sentences. That means you need to practice reading. That is how you will be able to improve your you'll be able to frame sentences. And then you're uncomfortable with pronunciation. Yes, there could be difficult words which you are unable to pronounce, but by and large you should be able to pronounce English words, because even if you are a student of Hindi medium, throughout your, let's say, schooling and graduation, there was an English subject always that you would have studied. And therefore, and you are exposed to a lot of English, uh, to in and around you. If you're from village, you come to cities, you see that hoardings are written in English. There are few people who are talking in English. There are English songs, there are English movies, and so on. You're somehow being exposed. It's not like German, where you've never heard or listened a word of German, or French, you have never heard French. So English is kind of second language to us, and therefore, even if you are uncomfortable with pronunciation, I can guarantee you one thing: with practice and reading loudly will help you to improve your pronunciation. This problem happens because we are unable to twist our tongue to pronounce the word correctly. And why are we not able to twist the tongue? Because we're not used to it. That's it, as simple as that. So the muscle which you exercise more will become stronger. If you don't exercise, they become weak. So to speak a particular word in a particular fashion, there's a certain amount of twisting required in the tongues. And if our muscles are weak for for that particular region, we have difficulty in speaking the word. So if you're speaking loudly, you're reading something loudly, there's a huge chance that you will do well. And therefore, if you overcome all these things, you will become proficient in speaking. So a simple 3-step formula: read English, speak English, think English. That's it. So you read newspapers, you read novels, you do, you know you speak, make a group talk among yourselves in English. What do you mean by thinking in English? Watch some good English movies, try to frame sentences, try to visualize a conversation with any celebrity, or whatever you want to become, and make sure that conversation is in English. That is what I mean when I say, you got to think in English. And of course, the most important thing is to practice. Revision, revision, and revision. So if you don't practice, you forget. You, no matter what skills you are, how skilled, whatever skilled person you are, if you don't practice, that skills will lose its sheen. Of course, it's not that you will forget that skill, but then the proficiency in which you had that particular skill will be lost. You are a good driver, you drive a lot of car, but if you leave driving for 10 years, 12 years, to get that kind of sharpness, you will need some practice. Similarly, no matter which skill, if you're a cricketer, footballer, any successful athlete, so if you don't practice, so that is true with language also. It's also an art. Language is a really an art, and if you don't practice that art, you will lose the edge. And that is why this becomes important, that you need to practice. So so these are things that we need to, if you only read 10%, if you only hear 20%, if you see 30%, 70% of what you say, and 90% what you say and do. So the point is, you got to speak and you got to live it. That is what will help you. You have to practice. I mean, you have to do it. कर्म करना पड़ेगा. Ultimately, देखो, घुमा फिरा के बात आ जाती कर्म पे, क्रिया पे, एक्शन पे. So all theory is good, reading is good, but then practice and doing that activity will always take you through, no matter how difficult the situation is. If you do it, if you work upon it, if you take action, that is when it fructifies. That is when you get positive results, right? And so future is not an option. That means From today, tomorrow will be future. For tomorrow, day after tomorrow will be future. So it is not an option, and success is never ending. So I hope you keep on succeeding in your life. You keep on achieving new and new things. So whenever you achieve new things, the goalposts change, and then you're looking to a next level. So once you have become a leader, you become a trainer, then you become train the trainer, and then you become train the trainer and train the trainer. So it's never ending process. So the chain must not break. It must continue, and the fire must always be lit. So that is the whole point. So this is where I'll end my presentation, and I'll wish you all the best. And please understand, you guys are good because you are here, and vice versa. Because you are here, chances are you are good because you are the chosen ones. Believe in yourself that you will be able to do a good job of what you want to do, and there's no reason you'll not be able to make it in terms of becoming a successful trainer, in terms of becoming a successful leader. And so go ahead and become a great communicator. All the best. This should be also from my side, and I'm sure you'll be having questions. So you're most welcome to shoot them.
Thank you so much, sir. Your guidance will definitely help us. As the Pratap sir already told about duties and responsibilities, now if anybody have queries, feel free to ask.
And also, if you guys have any suggestions regarding this GD or monthly virtual speakathon, please let us know.
Are we done?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. And my question to you is like, I talk with my friends in English, and they are very reluctant to speak in English. Like, if I try to convince them with, like, you'll be should able to communicate your ideas in English, so they understand this thing. But they also say, like, if it's about communication and expressing your ideas, so why not in Hindi? What if I speak in Hindi? I'm able to communicate what I want to say. So my friends or someone to whom I try to convince, they are very reluctant. So what should I do to convince them so that they can able to speak in English?
Okay. See, the fact that these guys are telling you that they are good communication in Hindi, so why should we not discuss them it in Hindi? So one reason is, please understand, there is a kind of complex which they are having. They're avoiding learning a new skill because it is painful. So first thing you need to tell them is, please understand, yes, you're great in that particular language, but please understand, English is a business language. It will help you in terms of your professional life. It will help you in terms of impressing others. Now they will say, why do you need to impress others? You need to impress others because you are living in a society which is functioning on the basis of give and take strategy, right? So if you are a fluent in a particular language, it puts you in a particular strata where your chance of becoming successful are far more better. For example, there are a large number of call centers in the country which are working worldwide or in India. They're mostly in English, right? Most of the Google search that they are making, ask them, they're good communicator, no doubt, but what is the language in which they are studying their books? What is the language that they're using in terms of searching on Google? What is the language in which most of the research is being published? So so you need to first drill down the importance of English for well-being. Second, tell them that you are learning a new skill does not mean that you are forgetting or disrespecting your other language. Don't let their pride for a language come into their way of learning a new language. Tell them that, see, learning a new language is always helpful, and English is second in nature in our country. It is being extensively used, and this will help them. See, whatever I told you in the presentation, I told you that few points were there why English is important. It's a business language. It helps you in total data. Large amount of information is available in particular language, and then you need to tell them, भाई ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं इंग्लिश बोल रही हूँ तो इसका मतलब है मैं आपकी भाषा का अपमान करना चाहती हूँ, ऐसा थोड़ी ना। आपको मैं चाहती हूँ एक और भाषा सीख लो, learn another additional language, it will help you in your personal and professional growth. ये बस समझाना है। पहली बात तो उनके दिमाग से निकालना है कि ये अपनी भाषा के प्रति गद्दारी होगी, एक तो ये दिमाग में होता है। दूसरा कि इट इज जस्ट अनदर लैंग्वेज। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वुड यू से द सेम थिंग फॉर जर्मन? वुड यू से द सेम थिंग फॉर फ्रेंच? Probably not. So why are you saying this for English, especially when majority of our content is available to us in English, and therefore you need to explain them. Actually they are afraid of losing their self image, so that is a problem. So you have to be very polite and gentle with them and tell them कि ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, ऐसा थोड़ी ना कि तुम्हें अंग्रेजी नहीं आती तो तुम खराब हो गए, गंदे हो गए। सीखोगे तो गलतियां करोगे तो गलती तो होगी ना, उसमें क्या है। So that is how you have to convince them, that's how you have to tell them कि ठीक है इसको करना चाहिए हमें।
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, okay. Yes, anybody else? Sangeeta, apart from Sangeeta, anybody else having a question? Hello, Kanjli, Nitish, Inderjeet, Ashish, Rashmi, Dhruv, Nitya.
I think firstly you should make your video on so that you are visible to Pankaj sir.
Yeah.
Please make your
Good
video on.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah, and you can share.
हाँ जी, good afternoon.
सर क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है बट मैं कुछ बोलना चाहता हूँ स्पीकाथॉन क्लब के बारे में।
Okay.
एक्चुअली सर 30 बच्चे अगर 5 भी जोड़ते हैं तो सर 150 हो जाते हैं एंड 150 इज सच अ बिग नंबर। तो सर मैं यही बोल रहा था कि मतलब ये इनिशिएटिव लिया जो है ये बहुत ही अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है सर एंड वी होप दैट मैनी स्टूडेंट विल लर्न मैनी थिंग एंड जो हमारी प्रॉब्लम आती है कि जीडी में 30 और 50 स्टूडेंट आते हैं, आई होप कि इस बार वो ना आए। सो सर ग्रेट इनिशिएटिव बाय टर्निंग प्लेसमेंट सेल एंड all the best to the coordinator and we will try to increase the number of participation.
So make sure that you have 5 people under you and they are ready immediately as soon as possible to train another 5 people. So that is your achievement and contribution to this club. So
yes sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you sir.
Okay, great.
Anybody else have any queries?
I think Ashish.
हाँ जी, बताइए आशीष। अच्छा, आशीष is having a query. Yes, Alok, your video is on. You want to say something?
No, sir, you have done a lot and cleared all doubts, so I'm okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, see, you are the leaders. If you don't ask questions, so how would you encourage your people to ask questions? So ask all questions, whatever you have in your mind. Of course, I know I'm a good speaker, so I've tried to cover all the answers, but I'm not that good enough that you have no queries in your mind. So okay, so I need to probably call your names, right? Ashish, Nitish, Rashmi, Dhruv, Nitya, Anji, प्रांजलि, कोमल, अंजलि, मनीष। हाँ आलोक, आप अपना माइक म्यूट कर दो अगर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो डिस्टर्बेंस आ रही है। हाँ
Nishit.
Yeah, no particular query that was, but I read this quote a long time ago that if you want to, speak better, just read, write, and recite. So that's it. That's something that I want to pass on, to my, the 5 students that I work with, and I think it'd be very fun. The only thing I tell them is that read as much as you can and watch movies that's how I learned, by watching movies and series and reading books that had nothing to do with the syllabus. So yeah, just have fun, and in no time you'll be speaking,
Okay,
fluent
so
English.
choose a web
Yeah,
series and make sure what you call group watch. Create a group watch and make
yeah,
sure that you
yeah.
ensure that these guys watch that particular web series in English with no subtitles. And after that
No,
series,
even if they watch with subtitles, that
fair
doesn't
enough,
matter.
huh? Doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
after that web series, make sure that you spend 5 minutes and asking them ki kya samajh aaya, because that is what
yeah,
will be the positive outcome. So make sure you do that. It's a good strategy, no doubt. Implement. Let's
yeah.
see if it works. Implement on the entire group.
Yeah, I think it'll
Share this.
definitely work.
Yeah, make sure that web series.
Considering this
Yeah,
place is a project, and more like fun group
fun.
thing,
Yeah. Yes,
just
true.
hanging out, talking. Yeah,
Yeah, fair, sure. Why not? I mean, and
so
if at all
that's
you
it.
are discussing, talking, make sure you talk in English at that point of time, at least during the watch, during the group watch, during
Yeah,
the
definitely,
ads. When there are
definitely.
ads, so make sure you talk in English. So when there are no ads, make sure you watch that intently. Good.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only thing. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah.
Sangeeta,
I have one more question.
Yes, dear. Ask.
Sir, you touched upon the fact like it's not important what you say, but it's very important how you say.
Okay.
So I'm a bit impulsive and I have faced this thing many times. Like I misunderstood and I react quickly. So no matter how better I can communicate, but it's about impulsivity. Like I react quickly. So can you please give me some tips so that I can avoid this?
Okay. One thing, drill down in your mind that you should listen to understand and not listen to respond. Now, your problem is that you are always listening to respond immediately. My understanding is you actually don't even listen to the complete question and you start answering. I think that is where this problem starts. So do one thing. So whenever anybody is talking to you one thing, keep in mind that you are going to wait till the time the person finishes the his or her question. पहली बात तो ये ध्यान रखनी है आपको. ठीक है. प्लस जब वो कोई बोल रहा है, let us say you end up getting, किसी ने कुछ बोला and you are having an answer to that question in your mind, don't respond, because you have to keep the second thing in your mind, that you are listening to understand, not responding. Just keep these two things in mind just for next 7 days. Talking to anybody, keep these two things in mind, that you have to listen till the end, till the person is completing the question, and second, you are listening to understand what he's saying and not responding to what they are saying. This itself will take care of 90% of the problem that you are facing as of now.
Yes, sir. But sir, it's mostly happening this miscommunication and is
It,
virtual on virtual platform. In
huh,
offline, I didn't face these kind of problem because I try to listen first, and yes, as you said, try to listen to understand, not to react. So on virtual platform, I'm facing this kind of problem, and it's kind of distressing me. So I just
yes,
want.
because in online platform, see, when you're face to face, you know that if you cut the other person while he's or she's speaking, they will feel offensive, and therefore you don't say. But in online or social media platform, once the other person is not visible to you, you really don't know whether the person has finished or not, and then therefore you start responding. So henceforth, whenever you are talking on social media, please start your answer by asking them, have you finished your question? So make sure before answering anything, ask a question. Don't copy paste it, type it. Just type, have you finished your question? This will take care of you this problem. And I assure you, just do it 7 days. Tell Pratap sir, tell me. I can assure you it's solved. Not a big deal.
Yes.
and
Thank you.
Sangeeta, as soon as you start mentoring the students, all these qualities automatically will enter, will come to
Yeah.
you.
Yes, yes.
Patience, and all that. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for providing me this wonderful opportunity to learn. Thank you.
Okay. So, any suggestion regarding this mentoring, or how we should basically enroll the students? Uh, you can give suggestions on this also. So, from when we can start this exercise? Can we start
Unnati and others,
from?
you got to respond to sir's question. Or what the
Sir, as soon as possible, like from
No,
next week. From next
no,
week.
that is not a answer. You got to fix up a date and then tell.
So let's start on 17 from 17 November.
Okay.
Purva, on 17th we are having this MVS, na? Monthly Virtual Speakathon.
Okay, okay.
So that will be the competition, but I think we can start from the next week. Okay,
Yes.
because in this week we have
Yeah,
conducted
sure, sir.
this interaction of training the trainers. Okay, so from next week onwards, we will seriously start this exercise. Till then, till next week, you have to make your team of those 5 students whom you will be mentoring. Okay, so like if you can create that team by your own, it is very good. It is the best approach. And if it is not possible, then you make Apurva aware about it. So in that case, students will be assigned to you by coordinators. But from next week onwards, we will be starting this activity. And what we will do, we will basically uh, evaluating all of you also. Like in the end of the month, we will tell that which mentor was the best. Okay, so how we will do it? So we are thinking that one YouTube channel we will create. So whenever you will have this group discussion, you have to record that and put that GD on that YouTube channel. Okay, so it will be a channel of GDs, group YouTube channel of group discussions. You will also feel good that you are available on the net in the role of mentor. And whenever anyone sees that you are mentoring the students or you are basically mentoring the group discussion, so it will give a good feeling to you also. So but we will use that channel as the we will be evaluating you people through that channel, and in the end of the month we will be declaring that okay, Unnati was the best, or Nishit was the best, or Ashish Shoran was the best, not on your communication skills, how you are, how your entire
Right.
group is behaving and interacting. On that basis you people will be evaluated. That will be sort of competition only. Okay, I think, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move together with this mission. And I again express thanks to Pankaj because Pankaj has enlightened all of us. Although number could be more, but okay, it's when we are core members. Then in that case, we don't.
Sure.
It doesn't bother, the number doesn't bother when it is about core members, because core people are less only, they are not in mass. So but let's start with this mission. Okay, ठीक है, ठीक है अपूर्वा. So ठीक है उन्नति, I think we can wind up. Okay, we can leave the meeting. Thanks a lot. Okay, thank you. I think we can leave the meeting now.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for
Thanks.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
आलोक,
Yes, sir.
आलोक 5 मिनट के बाद you, Apurva and Unnati will again come on this platform on the same meeting ID. Okay. After
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Apurva,
Sir,
Alok and Unnati. Okay.
Okay, sir.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, Pranjali.
Sir, actually, next week there are minors of BTech students. So I don't think that anyone will take participate in that event. So if we can shift to next week this event.
We can have GD of 15 minutes only. Okay. You can have that GD on even on audio conferencing. in that case. Okay, so let's start. ठीक? Let's start.
Okay, sir.
Okay.